Y'all see the comments with Fat Joe getting dragged because he said Puerto Ricans were hip hop founders and it wasn't just black people. Did y'all see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
People
That's
were
wild. That's wild.
People were dragging him for that, man. And I've always been under the impression that the Puerto Ricans was in the park when they were DJing and throwing the block parties as well. But I've always been under the assumption that it was founded, by black folks in the park. If that makes sense.
Founded by in Cedric Avenue by 𝗀𝗲𝗄𝗧.
Thank you.
So
that's what I've always been told. But
Africa Bambaataa came up with the term hip hop.
Thank you. Shout out to Sly. That's what I've always been told or always been taught, or that's how I've come up. But they were dragging Joe.
What did Joe say though? That the Puerto Ricans were around, or
he was making it seem like it was a creation.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and
I've never heard that story.
It had to been though, right? Like that's.
I mean,
Jamaicans were around, Puerto Ricans was around.
Yeah,
like
but
But the origin though, I think is to what Jay Moore is talking about.
This is the thing, and I understand because
that's a touchy subject.
New York is such a melting pot, and plus this is probably gonna make a few of our those who are not have that knowledge of self, but you can't even make a Puerto Rican without African blood. So
that's tough.
Oh, man.
I mean, like a lot of just because your great grandmother was done dirty by someone who spoke Spanish and mine was done dirty by somebody who spoke English, that doesn't make you that much different than me. So, when you talk about the founders, we can name these people. We can talk about Africa Bambaataa actually naming the culture. We can talk about 𝗀𝗲𝗄𝗧. And that, even if you go back a little bit further, like, see, the thing is, there are things that that hip hop clearly drew from. When you talk, like, a lot of people don't know about, there's a comedian named Pig Markham. Yeah. Okay, and if you don't know who that is, do your research. I remember my father had one of his albums.
That's old school.
And you listen to that, you could hear the cadences. It wasn't to music. There wasn't no breakdancing involved, but you can see where there was that was rap, or the origins, or maybe some of the influences of rap. When you listen to, when you're talking about even somebody like not Scatman Carruthers. Oh gosh, he was in a Janet Jackson video. I should know it. All right, older.
Oh man!
Oh my goodness! I'm gonna get killed for not knowing. But
I should know this.
Yeah, it'll come to me probably as soon as the show's over. Or even when you talk about, some of you know what a gospel troubadour is. And like I said, if you want to go into the history of black music and 𝗀𝗏𝗄𝗧, that's who it was.
𝗀𝗏𝗄𝗧. There we go.
The call and response of 𝗀𝗏𝗄𝗧. And if you want to go into the things that clearly led up to what hip hop culture eventually evolved into, these are things that have their roots in gospel, in jazz, in the blues, things that are clearly African American culture. And I don't think there's, while the thing is, this is the thing about hip hop, we let everybody in. You bring this little piece, come on in, brother. But now it's gotten to the point where now everybody wants to claim. Like, I saw some dude, I don't know if he was doing it to be funny or he really wanted.
Probably not.
This dude was like, well, if we're going to talk about that, we got to talk about how Italians helped to. I was like, because y'all be doing like,
let's chill with this family tree thing. Now. Let's calm down, man.
Don't get me wrong. I understand that there are people who have their roots in Puerto Rico, in the West Indies, who were contributors. But when we talk about when we talk about the lineage of hip hop, it is the lineage that comes from African Americans. And and the thing is, that's not to exclude or make anybody feel like they can't be a part of it. But we can't all of a sudden have this revisionist history and say, oh, well, actually it was Puerto Ricans who was right there. And like, they were right there. But like, when the lineage of when you talk about what's happening in the Bronx, because you can't talk about the Bronx and not talk about our Puerto Rican brothers and sisters, because they were right there with us.
That's my whole point.
But when you go back and you really look at the lineage and, those break beats and those things that they were cutting up and putting together, that is Black American culture. And that's not to exclude anybody. But I just think that, now that hip hop is hip hop, everybody wants to say, well, we were there too. And you were there. But the lineage of hip hop, and people can get mad at me if you want to, but you can go back to the turn of the century. The lineage comes from African American culture.
There's a difference. The comment is, or the the way I look at it is there's a difference between initiating and being involved. That's all. It's like we're talking about how it was initiated, but we're not excluding the people that were involved as after it was initiated. That's all, because to your point, they were in the park rocking. That's documented.
Yeah.
Jamaicans, Puerto Ricans, whatever, like everybody was there rocking, but the actual initiation of it, to what you said,
once again, I like to play white devil's advocate.
I was just about to play white devil's advocate.
You know,
Please play white devil's advocate.
Think about this whenever, well, you know.
Hold on, let the white devil's advocate play it.
Technically, you know, just think about it. Who created basketball? What's the man's name?
Dr. James Naismith.
And what is his lineage?
He's white.
Okay, so we can. A white man created basketball.
Sure did.
But you know who participates in basketball at a professional level, on a dominant level, if you will? It is people of color. And you know what? I'm not even good. That's a cop out. Black people.
Thank you.
Black people.
People of color is a complete cop out. I hate that. You know, when we talk about who's participating and who's doing what now, yes, that's true. Everybody's involved. But you know, if you wanted to say, well, black people did this and we created the slam dunk in the alley, yeah, but you know what? Who was the man? Who was there at the beginning?
Lone, talk to me.
You can't erase who was there at the beginning.
You perked up when.
Well, the white devil's advocate is that hip hop only exists because of colonization, and who created that? White people.
Oh, I knew he had something for me.
Now, clarify this for me. Did he say they invented it, or he said that?
I took it as he was saying that they were there when it started, as if it's on some 50-50 type.
Well, rather than just speculating.
Let's go ahead and look it up.
So reading this here, it says it's an article by Hip Hop TX. Says Fat Joe is facing social media wrath for comments he made about the origins of hip hop culture during a recent Instagram live. He says, thank you for your contribution to hip hop. The following day, he hopped on Instagram live, not only to big up DJ Khaled's new God Did album, but also address some of the negative comments. I tell you, I never really F with Twitter, but I go on there to see they always hating on me. He begins around the 52 mark. Lately, they've been talking about Latinos wasn't in rap. These guys are delusional. We're from the Bronx, New York. It happens. This is where hip hop started. It's Latino and black, half and half.
See, that's where.
Jay, right back.
Yeah, it's not. Let's not do that,
But,
Fat Joe.
But they going
Mr.
at me
Cartagena.
because I'm
He
the
said-
only Spanish dude with a big voice. Like, F that. Latinos wasn't there. You was invited. You are a specimen. I don't know what
This
the
doesn't.
F is up with these people that don't know their facts.
Once I got
I don't
the
think he knows what
50-50,
some of
I
those
got
words
past
mean.
that. Yeah. But you see what I'm saying about 50-50? That's the way he's trying to sell it. Is like, don't be clear.
How many? I mean, you know, _𝗀𝗏 is still alive. We can ask him how many Puerto Ricans were there at 𝐀𝐁𝐿 Avenue
That's
that
a good point.
that night.
That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to say it. Once again, it's the Bronx. Puerto Ricans are our brothers. They were there. And once again, Puerto Ricans, if you're listening, you're African too.
Yeah, we rock with you. Be clear. It's not about that, but we want to get the facts straight. That's all. And they dragged Joe 100% on Twitter. He got dragged. Joe.
He'll be all right. He's uncanceled.
Oh, he definitely going to be all right.
Uncancelable.
He's going to be all right.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, ain't going to cancel him.